Hello and welcome to The Talkies by Carmen Line Studios.
Well, what?
We are three filmmakers who talk about movies. My name is Taylor.
And I'm Kenny.
And I am D.
And today we're talking about a movie called In the Mood for Love by Wong Kar-wai.
Yup.
That is a famous movie. He makes other movies too, you know.
He makes other
Chungking
movies.
Express, you know. Yeah.
Oh, this
Fallen
isn't
Angels.
his only movie?
Yeah, believe it or not, this is not his only, it's not his debut.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. I picked this movie because I saw it once a while ago and wanted to watch it again. And it's a pretty famous movie, and we've talked about it a little bit. And I think it's a cool movie. I think it's a good one.
Well, it's had a lot of notoriety. I've heard of it many times before we watched it. Most notably, it's on a couple of like all-time best movie lists.
Yeah, like AFI or something.
Yeah.
It's always in like the top 5 or 10.
Yeah. Which I'm like, well, why is this movie so good and I've never seen it? So glad we watched it.
I've certainly heard about it. Yeah, I've never seen it though. I mean, until now.
Yeah.
So hot takes.
Yeah.
Or would you have something to say?
We should hot take it. Let's just jump.
Hot take?
Let's just jump to it. You know?
This movie blows. No.
Yeah, it does.
Taylor, I was like surprised when I watched this movie that you were the one who said you wanted to watch this, because I feel like it's so straightforward narrative that it's just not your game. I mean, I know you like straightforward narratives and all, but I mean, it's just not something I would have been like, oh yeah, Taylor would like this movie. Anyway, I really like the movie quite a bit. I want to watch it again, and I meant to watch it twice before this, but I had stuff going on. But this is probably, I'd say, one of the best movies I've seen. It's really, really good. I don't know, the direction in it, the flavor of the direction's really good for something that I like, but also just because I like the technicalities of the movie. Like everything technically about the movie works really, really well. Even the repetitive score, I think, works really well.
I love the way.
My take.
Yeah. Okay. So I agree with everything that D just said,
But it sucks.
but I didn't like it that much.
Okay. Wow, this is interesting.
So I guess what I mean by that is I really was impressed with the movie. It is freaking gorgeous. It is masterfully directed. I love the way they use the score. Great performances top to bottom. Like, it is just like a perfectly put together movie. The story they were telling on the screen became like increasingly less interesting to me as the movie went on. And I don't mind a slow burner. Like some of my favorite movies are very, very deliberate and slow, which this one was as well. But it just didn't seem to really go anywhere, and it kind of frustrated me in that sense.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny because coming into this, I was literally like, I was in my head, I was like, all right, D is probably not going to like it, and Kenny's going to love it. He's going to think it's the best movie ever made.
That's funny. I thought D was going to love it because I'm like, this movie, it's very, very good at, it establishes a strong atmosphere, probably, which is like, I don't know, that's like the last 3 movies we've watched have just been heavy atmosphere movies. Atmosphere is palpable in this movie. You feel like you're at that place. It does all the things that D geeks out about, right?
Yeah.
It does all those things well. And I geeked out about it. You know, there were 10 or 12 times where I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. That's beautiful. but you know, again, these are pieces of a whole, and you know, something can be a very beautiful whole and still not necessarily, I don't know. I wanted more of a story. I just wanted more of a story with this one.
It was.
I think that's fair.
I think it was pretty tone heavy. I mean, if you talk about that, I mean, like it's interesting because movies that I watch, I know there's always like this slow part in there where I'm just like, yeah, I mean, like, I get it. Can we move on a little bit? Like, I can't think of a movie off the top of my head, but there's always a movie that when I'm watching, there's always one part where we go it's just after the second act where things start to slow down just before it gets to the climax. It's like, oh, you know what? It's like, what was Mad Max Fury Road? Do you remember the night scene?
Yeah.
Okay, so the night scene just before they had the whole shootout and everything, just before that, when they're just chilling, it's like a character dump, right? It's like everyone starts talking about themselves, basically. They just start conversing with each other. They have it in Pulp Fiction. They have it in every movie that I can think of. But in this movie, I was like waiting for it, and I felt like it never came because the whole movie was so tone heavy that it didn't really matter. It's like the whole movie was about the characters anyway, what they were feeling back and forth, and so it never felt like it slowed down. It felt like it was just on that plane the whole time, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I like that too. What I was thinking about a lot on this viewing was how the two characters get to know each other, like how the scenario's set up, and what random forces bring these two people together, that they have a sort of similar loneliness, and how they manage that and deal with that in every scene, and how that is evolved throughout the whole movie, and then how that doesn't resolve and is left unfinished and forever longing.
Yeah, they never like hook up, right?
No, they never hook up.
Yeah.
Well, unless
it's off screen.
And yeah, I was thinking that last scene when they showed the girl and her son, and they never talk about the father at all. I mean, because
that's interesting.
Yeah, I was wondering maybe
that's
they got together.
What I was trying to
off-screen.
wonder if you're supposed to infer something about that.
It's really Chow's son.
Chow's son. Yeah,
it's
it's cool because like, or sorry, go ahead, Kenny.
I was just gonna say I actually really loved the ending of the movie, probably more than the middle. The ending was I call the Samsara sequence there at the end, where he like tells his secret to the wall and fills it with mud.
That was great.
I thought that was a really, really cool ending, and I guess it frustrated me during the watching because I'm like, I don't know what his secret is, but now kind of looking back, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I think his secret is that he was in love with somebody who's not his wife.
So I'm just saying, like, it's like that. And I think there's a high level of like an intense taboo that is so disconnected from our culture that I just missed it.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm like, because they were acting like there was extreme taboo behavior going on.
Yeah,
and I wasn't seeing the taboo.
I was thinking about that because I had just
cheating
just
is commonplace in America.
From what we could tell, they were just talking about how their spouses cheated and what should we do anything about it? Probably not. And that was kind of the story.
Well, to me, there was pretty clear that they were romantically interested though in each other through most of the movie.
He was.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Him more than her. I thought.
I felt she was. Definitely,
I felt she was too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Just prior to the movie, I was looking up cultural differences, specifically in China, of like different kinds of what people are supposed to do. Oh, it was a story about having a student abroad, right? So like there was a student from China who was staying in America, and there was these things that I had read about that they just like don't do. One of those things is like if you eat food that's cold, like one of those like it's considered rude to give people cold food, and it's kind of like passive aggressive. And it's like all the lines that they were talking about in this article that I read it was like niceties that we think about here in the US, but taken to the max, like super. So like, it's always very polite, to ask or to not ask for help when you're doing something, whether it's like trying to get to the store and you don't have a car, or you got to have some help setting something up. It's always you should always rely on yourself and never actually ask. And so when someone else asks, it's actually supposed to be, super polite for them to ask for you if you need help. So it's always it's these things that I think we kind of take for granted as like an introverted kind of thing that we deal with here in America, where we're a little bit more open when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to cheating specifically, you take those, small little things that are considered bad or considered good and just, really, really deepen the meaning to them. Because cheating here in America is very bad. But again, I don't think it's seen as crazy taboo as it is in China.
Yeah, but if this exact story was told in America and you put a different score to it, it would be about a couple who did the right thing and didn't cheat. Whereas in the Chinese culture, they basically did cheat.
Well, it's I was thinking about it as they were emotionally cheating with each other.
Yeah. Which I don't think that's
to me that felt.
I don't know if that's a thing here.
I think it's a thing here. I think it's definitely
would feel cheated on if my significant other fell in love with somebody else, even if they didn't bang.
Well, you just haven't been married very long. I mean, it's
I've
pretty.
never been married.
This happens all the time. It's just so normal.
I was picturing if these two were just friends, it would have been totally fine. But they did not seem like friends. Like they were very intimate with each other.
Yeah,
it wasn't just like hanging out.
Yeah.
I felt like you could feel that through.
Look, I just wanted to see them bang.
They didn't even share an on-screen kiss.
Is that? Am I asking too much? Jeez,
that's too taboo, man. That's really taboo. You know what's cool is what I thought was Chow's character. He's talking to Ping, his low life friend, and like Ping is like this, this dude who just needs everything. He's super rude. But then you look at Chow's life, and Chow is like. He's just straight emotionally cheating on his wife this whole time. I like the comparison of the two characters.
Ping was cool. Yeah. He was just like, he's like, yeah, I'm going to a brothel, later. Like he was just like completely open with all his flaws.
Yeah, and he's like assumes like he goes to Chow and he's like, all right, give me $20. Yeah. I feel I don't want to talk anymore about what didn't work for me in the movie because I feel bad about it because the movie is so well done that I don't want to criticize this movie. It's a deficiency in me, I'm sure. Well, I'll say this: when I first watched the movie, my first watch through, I didn't really follow it. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the Chinese language, but the subtitles fly quick.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like when we watched Stalker, I had a lot of time to read the subtitles.
Stalker, was way
These
there.
lines were flying by so fast that I couldn't watch what was happening on the screen half the time.
It's interesting because that's... The movie is so visually told also. It's a mix between. That's why I said it's so technically perfectly done because there's a lot of dialogue, but there's also a lot of visual language.
Yeah.
You have to pay attention to both things at the same time, and it's tough. For me, I watch subtitles with like every movie, so it came kind of easy. But I did have a hard time keeping up with the visuals. That's why I was saying that I want to watch it again so I can deeper immerse myself.
The shots were so cool.
Yeah.
There's this one where he does like a real slow push in towards like a hand railing, a banister of the stairs, just like really, really, really slowly, and it's just setting up someone that's going to come walk past it. It's all it's for. But he takes 30 seconds, to set up the person to come walk by, and it just feels so good.
Yeah, and the what was I gonna say? Also with the subtitles thing, the way the dialogue in this movie flows is pretty like they don't take much time to sit down and like give you much exposition.
Mm-mm.
And they don't really hold your hand with what's going on. And they have people talking over each other a lot.
Yeah. It almost feels like cinema verite. It's got a real
Yeah.
It feels
Right.
very real and organic.
So-
Yes. Yeah.
When you talking about the subtitles, Kenny, that Cinema Verite style in a different language was really strange in the beginning, because I remember what was it, I can't remember her name, the landlady. Anyway, the landlady was talking to the main character, and they were just passing along niceties, just having small conversation, and you're just like zeroed in trying to read all the subtitles, and you're just like, oh, they're just talking about day-to-day stuff. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
but because you have to read it, it's just like, oh, I got to pay attention.
Yeah. I gotta watch this again, and soon. It was it's kind of it's a challenging movie already, just because of how, I mean, it is a slow burn. It is a big time slow burn, and it is it's just driven by, there's literally like almost no action in this movie.
Yeah, it's
Right.
purely drama. 100% romance.
And
100% visual driven
yeah.
romance
Yeah.
tone poem.
That's what I mean.
almost,
It's
yeah.
like, it's a movie that demands focus.
Yeah,
You know, it
definitely.
asks a lot of the viewer already, and then having that subtitle issue on top of that made
Right.
it like, you know, it was a challenging watch.
Yeah. It makes me think, like, if someone in like some other country was watching Primer with subtitles in their language,
Yeah.
I think that would be kind of the same kind of thing, where you're just watching people talk about stuff, and you're just like, how am I supposed to make sense of all this? Yeah, it doesn't. Really
Taylor, have you seen
matter.
some of other of Wong Kar-wai's movies?
Yeah, I've seen Chungking Express and I've seen Fallen Angels, and they're both amazing.
Does he use music in them the way he uses it here?
I don't remember as much. Kind of. No, not like as repetitively. Like
Yeah.
there's like literally in Mood for Love, there's literally like one score. That's like the only track they use.
Well, he uses a couple of pieces of popular music.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's true.
He used a
like
Spanish
needle
song,
drops,
which
yeah.
was interesting.
That yeah
Yeah,
And
that was cool.
I know that song too. Do you know what that song's about?
From
do you
what
know
I
that
could
song?
tell,
The chorus is perhaps, and it basically it's you tell me that you love me, but you never do anything about it. You just keep saying perhaps.
Hey, that's the
what
movie.
Yeah,
hey, that's the movie.
yeah.
That's cool. That's really awesome.
Cake did a cover of that song in the 2001, and that's why I know it.
The use of score, I thought, was a bit cheesy at times. In fact, that's one of those reasons why I kept, like, I had to rewind the movie a few times because I heard the score come in. I'm like, something happened. I didn't missed it, and then I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, they were revealing that this whole thing was an act, or something like that. I thought it was. I didn't really like the use of their music. I enjoyed what they did with it. I'm just not that kind of person that likes to have it in my face. Hey, look, something happened, right?
Yeah, every time they use it, it's used very much as a... I was trying to pay attention to what happens every time, because every time that score kicks in, it's a slow-mo sequence, and it's usually the two main characters, the Chow and Mrs. Chan, somehow having some kind of connection, either in passing or deliberately. And there was a couple exceptions to that I noticed. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but it was usually to emphasize like I think a progression in their relationship.
Well, and like, I guess the parts that I'm referring to are the ones that that signified that they were legit just putting on an act, like the time, like when they were pretending to be Mrs. Chan and her husband, right? When they're pretending to be both of them, and they were talking to each other in the study or something, and then it did the cue of the music when she cried, and then it again that happened on the street where they pretended again to be the couple, but you didn't know that's what they were doing, until it was revealed, and so the reveal cued the music, and I'm just like I get it, and I understand, and I love the idea, and they're using it properly, and it's something I would have done if I were, learning how to make film, and I would have been praised for it. It's just not my taste.
Mm-hmm.
They spent a lot of time lighting every scene of this movie.
Yeah.
I was like, gee, yeah. It's like trying to count like where all the little like accent lights must have been hidden to make. I was like, this is, especially where he worked, the place where he worked. I don't know what he was like typing or working on a machine or something. Where he worked. It was a larger space where it looked like it had other workspaces around him, and it was like after hours and dark, and there were all these really thoughtful placements of light in that room, and they did that throughout the movie. It was really a visually stunning thing to look at.
Yeah, that's one of those things you really do take for granted if you're into movies and you don't think about the lighting every time that you watch a movie. Like, this one is lit perfectly. One of my favorite shots is the one where Chow's in the hallway, I think, and he smokes, and the shot is just like his head is at the bottom of the frame and the smoke is rising above his head, and I think it's in slow motion, but I didn't realize until you said that, but the smoke is backlit, and he's I guess he's backlit too. Anyway, it just looks really, really cool.
Yeah, that was a really sick shot. All right, so Wong Kar-wai, a visual motif in the 3 movies I've seen of his is he always does that. It's really subtle in this one, but he does like a slow shutter speed, kind of a stuttering.
I did not think that was subtle at all.
Well, compared to how he uses it in his other movies, it's very subtle.
It has really cool effect.
I didn't like it at all.
I knew you wouldn't like it.
Yeah,
because they use that in Apocalypto, and you hated it.
The reason why, though, it's colored because of my perception. Because since early in my filmmaking, life, all you had to do that was right click and select slow motion, and then that would just stretch your footage and duplicate every frame.
Yeah.
And I know it was a thing that people did back then on purpose, but because of the way that I grew up,
it looks cheap to you.
It looks like Windows Movie Maker is what it looks like.
Well, when I say subtle, I mean like there's a shot in The Mood for Love where it's just static of the rain dropping on the ground.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Love that. It reminded me of a really bad movie, Antebellum, the greatest shot in Antebellum. You remember what I'm talking about? The rain on the car.
Yeah,
it just reminded me
of
that
only
shot.
Cool shot in that movie. Yeah.
So Wong Kar-wai's directing style is kind of crazy. He's very spontaneous, and he's he's very open to revisions to the script on the days of shooting. So he'll change key moments of the story and beats like right then and there on set, and improvise whole new scenes right then and there with the actors.
Maybe that's how he gets that cinema verite vibe then.
Probably.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But what's interesting is that I'd say every other element of the movie seems so incredibly planned out and intentional. Right. Like this feels like to the level of Kubrick, you know, and intentionality of the set.
Yeah, that's what's kind of awesome about it. That's why I think it's really, really amazing. It's because like all the technical production is like on point, all there. Jeez. And then being able to like improvise on top of that and just being willing to change the story right then.
I'm just thinking what that must feel like to be on the crew. Like say that's what I'm saying. If you're a camera operator and you have that level of like strict adherence to a vision, right? But then the cast and the director are like making stuff up. It would be really frustrating.
Dude, as a gaffer
Yeah.
or as a grip, yeah, jeez.
It's like we spent 6
Okay, now
months
change
on
everything.
this shot list, and now you're making up new dialogue.
Yeah, probably.
That's good. They're just speaking of lighting and stuff, their night shots
Yeah.
were just incredible.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of movies like. Okay, first of all, when was this movie made?
This was 2000.
2000.
Yeah.
Okay, so like a lot of late '90s movies, I think of have like the deep blue, to accent the night. And I really like how this one just went super, just dark with it, because like
Yeah, it's like black. It's like
yeah,
nighttime.
yeah, exactly. Like there's no blue. Like I like the idea where it's just black night, and then you use street lights and whatever, or street lights
Yeah.
to make it seem as if there is light coming from the side, but it's not moonlight.
Yeah, it's
You know,
not
I
like
love
that motivated blue moonlight
Yeah.
thing, which is
Yeah.
pretty generic these days.
And not real.
And yeah, super
And just not real.
exaggerated.
I've never
Yeah.
gone out at night and seen that blue light.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a gray.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually pretty hard to see at night.
Yeah. I don't know why it would be blue.
Yeah. I knew going in that this was a fairly modern movie, but completely forgot that while I was watching it.
Yeah.
Like it
the
really
period is
does
perfect.
feel it. Not only do they get the period right, it feels like an old movie.
Yeah,
like
it
it feels
does.
like it was shot in like the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused there for a second, and then I saw some modernalities there, with the shot choices and whatnot. So it kind of came to mind. I'm sure this is a late '90s, early 2000 movie, but dang, yeah, the aesthetic, dude.
Yeah.
It straight up felt like it was like a Kubrick movie, like just back then. It was
Yeah.
nice.
It definitely felt like it could have been shot in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a very good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
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 I'm sorry I didn't like it more. I feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
should be
I
sorry.
failed.
No, you
should
didn't.
be sorry.
No, something went wrong. I'm so stupid.
Wait,
Dang it.
You know how I felt when we watched Kubrick, and I'd be like,
That was that whole thing. Like half the Kubrick movies, you're like, well, I didn't like it very much, but it was good.
yeah. So I can empathize with what you're feeling here.
Well, you
Yeah,
cannot
yeah.
like a movie. That's okay. Just because it's on the AFI doesn't mean doesn't mean
Yeah,
it's
what is-
objectively.
Taylor is saying you cannot like a movie.
Hey, don't. Hey, sorry. Look, D is helping me out here.
Well,
I cannot believe you didn't like this, and like you're wrong for not liking this.
according to my family and everyone outside of the three of us, I hate every movie. So that I guess I've got used to that.
Does that wrap us? Is that about it, or do we have more?
I think we're.
I mean, unless you have a question.
Do you have a question for the filmmaker?
Yeah,
Not for the
filmmaker. Did you?
We've waited this long, but now we're bringing on Wong Kar-wai. Thanks for waiting. We have a special guest here.
How was
Will
it working with those rain machines?
Dude, I had my only technical qualm for the whole movie was there was like one shot of janky rain machine operation.
Yeah, I felt like I saw that as well.
What shot was that?
It was like I think it was the first time they had rain, and it wasn't a big wide shot, it was like a medium, and you saw raindrops going in multiple directions.
Yeah,
Oh.
like
Which
you could
means-
tell this. Yeah,
It means the sprinklers were a little too close to the
Right.
horizon of the shot, the top of the shot.
That's funny.
So you had water spraying in multiple directions, whereas if it's higher up, it eventually just all falls, in a sheet.
I hate
That bothered
rain
me.
in movies. Like aesthetically, it looks really cool, but rain in movies, dude, like it never rains that much. Maybe it's just because we're in California.
Well,
and maybe I've just never seen that much.
in most normal rainstorms, it's like impossible to get it to even show up on your camera.
Yeah, you gotta
Like,
severely
it's just not
backlight
enough
it to
water.
even see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need
There's
like
it just
insane
it
rain.
looks yeah, it looks like a tropical storm
Yeah.
every time that there's
Yeah.
rain in movies.
Well, if it actually does rain that hard, you're not going out to shoot in it. That's the thing.
One, you're not gonna you're not running through the streets either on that kind of rain. You know? Like, oh, let me go get my umbrella through this typhoon. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it just the fact of it is just takes lots of rain to make it look interesting on your screen.
Yeah.
Like a realistic amount of rain looks accidental.
It looks stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Taylor?
Why
Thank you.
Why am I alive?
This is not working.
Oh, wait, I know.
Okay.
If this movie was a pizza, what kind of pizza would it be?
See,
What the hell?
that's the only question that makes sense right now.
Now you're asking the right question.
That's the right question.
I got more questions if you want.
No
No.
other questions are right.
Okay. I know this pizza. This is one of those pizzas that when I go to eat pizza and someone tells me that this pizza I got to try, and I go and try it. It's the pizza that I've tried multiple times from all these other places, and it's always the best one in those places, and this is just the best one of this other place that I haven't tried yet. And so whatever those ingredients, it's whatever it is. But when I taste it, I'm just like, oh, why haven't I gone to this place before? Boom. That's what it is.
Okay.
And it's Chinese.
The pizza is?
No.
Wow.
Pizza's Italian.
Pizza's Italian.
Well, for me, this is just a perfect pizza. It's absolutely flawless pizza. Like,
But it has bad
everything
aftertaste.
you could want in a pizza.
It's flawless, but it's flawed.
No. It's flawless. It's perfect. And they deliver it to me, and I sit down to eat it, and I go, I'm not. I want Chinese food. You know. And so I go to the Chinese place instead.
Oh, so you're a little disappointed that it was pizza.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I didn't want pizza.
Wow. That's
But I
really
fully
funny.
acknowledge it's a perfect pizza. I'm throwing it away.
No. You give me that pizza, and that is my pizza rating.
I wouldn't give you the pizza though.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, then for me it's a homemade pizza, but it's like really good homemade, where it's like you bake it on like a pizza stone, and you get it like nice and crispy.
Stone pizza.
And you got like Parmigiano Reggiano from the block, grated on
from
there.
the block.
Yeah, straight from the block with the
Yeah,
rind. Make sure it's the
yeah.
real shit with the rind that says
rind on it.
Parmigiano Reggiano. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's printed
Yeah,
on
make
the
sure
rind.
it's printed
Yeah.
on there.
I
If
could
it's
just
not
see
printed
a-
on there, it's not good.
I could see a close up of you just grating that right on top.
Of spaghetti.
And then there's a close up of the pizza when the cheese lands on the pizza. The cheese kind of curls up a little bit. You
Yes,
see it, like,
curls a
melts
little, becomes
bit.
slightly translucent.
You throw a dash of
damn.
oregano on there.
Oh, he got the
Throw
oregano.
some red chili flakes on there. Get the cupped pepperonis that are crispy on the edges.
Cupped pepperonis.
And then
Just want to pick it up and sip the oil from it. Little oil shot.
Little oil shots.
and then dip the whole thing in chocolate and deep fry it.
What the? You just made an M. Night Shyamalan pizza. What, are you crazy?
No, I take it back. Just leave it as is. No chocolate.
Okay.
That would be a
That would be an M.
Shyamalan.
Night Shyamalan. Oh, man.
Wow.
That's good.
Okay,
Wow.
That's
well,
good.
man, we heard it here first.
I'm glad we heard it here first.
Wow, we've learned a lot today, didn't we?
What can we
I think
take
we
home
did.
from this?
Pizza.
We could
Okay.
take a
Taylor, End us.
All right. This has been The Talkies by Carmen Line Studios. We talk about movies every week. Usually we drop an episode on Friday is when it happens.
Yep.
And you can find those episodes everywhere that you can listen to a podcast. Spotify, YouTube. It's on YouTube. We upload it to YouTube if you want to listen to it there. But you should really be listening to it on Spotify. And yeah. So there you go. Oh, next week we have another movie we're gonna watch.
Yeah.
And I believe
It'll
it's
be Kenny's choice.
turn. Yeah.
Indeed. Quick question. Instead,
The meeting's gonna end.
whatever. Instead of doing that, of me choosing, there is a new movie out, and I wondered if we wanted to cover Judas and the Black Messiah.
All right. Do you choose that movie?
No, that doesn't count as my turn.
Oh, that was gonna count as my turn. I was gonna ask if you guys wanted to watch that. on
No,
my turn.
I'm just nominating it because it's a new movie out.
Okay, I understand. You
And
want
then we go
hold
back
the rotation,
to the rotation. Yeah.
and pick it.
Yeah.
Man, okay. Well, that's fine with me.
Haha. All right,
Yeah,
Judas
sure.
and the Black Messiah is next, and we're out of time, folks. So bye.
Bye.
Bye.